What's up? Welcome back. Hey, today, kids, we're going to be looking at a very interesting book. This book is called Libba, The Magnificent Musical Life of Elizabeth Cotten. And I honestly have never heard of her before. And I like to review books of people that I've never heard of before because it's going to be so much more interesting and fresh. What's unique about Elizabeth is she actually taught herself to play the guitar. She didn't have that very many resources, and she wound up being very good at it without any help at all. So if you're interested, if you're curious in doing art or music or things like that, and if your circumstances doesn't allow you to do a lot of things you want to do, this book can be very inspiring, can show you that you can do a lot with your own creativity. So if you're curious, let's read this book and see what we can get from it. And by the way, this book was written by Laura Veers and illustrated by, this name is hard to pronounce, it's Tatiana Fazlalezadeh. Yeah, I hope I said it right. Let's get started. Libba Cotten heard music everywhere. She heard it in the river when she brought in water for her mother. She heard it in the axe when she chopped wood for kindling. She heard it in the freight trains moving down the tracks near her home. She even heard it when she wasn't allowed to. When her brother Claude was at work, Libba snuck into his room and borrowed his guitar. Dang, she whispered, Claude was right-handed. Libba was not. She turned the guitar upside down and played it backwards. It was kind of like brushing your teeth with your foot or tying a shoe with one hand. Nobody else played that way, but it was the way that felt right to Libba. Like a train plays rhythm on the tracks, Libba made the notes go up and down. Like water bubbles in a brook, Libba sang a little song. Like a girl doing what she was born to do, Libba played the guitar upside down and backwards. One time she broke a string. Another time she scratched the wood. Each time she put the guitar back. Dang, Claude said, she's done it again. But then Libba played him a song upside down and backwards. She played it a funny way, but she sure was good. Soon Claude moved out to get a job, taking his guitar with him. But Libba never stopped in her tracks. She kept rolling. Now what can a little girl like you do? I can sweep the floors, I can pick the vegetables, I can set the table. She earned 75 cents a month. Pretty soon she'd saved up $3.75, just enough for a Stella guitar. All day and night she played that guitar. Long after everyone had gone to sleep, her mother would shout, "Babe, I gotta go to work in the morning. How about a lullaby?" So Libba put her mother to sleep, playing upside down and backwards. Libba played, and before you could say, dang, she'd written her first song. She wasn't even 13 yet. Freight train, run so fast. Freight train, run so fast. Please don't tell what train I'm on. They won't know what route I've gone. But even trains get derailed. Time swept Libba up, and she stopped playing guitar. Now she was a tall and stately grandmother working in a department store. One day she found a little girl lost in the store. She returned the girl to her mother, Ruth Crawford Seeger, a composer in a famous musical family. Ruth could tell that Libba was kind and gentle, and Libba felt the same way about Ruth. As the Seegers' new housekeeper, Libba moved like a galleon, taking care of the family. She made 8-inch chocolate cakes with 6 layers each. She loved the spirited children, but most of all, she loved how the home was filled with music. You could hear banjos in the bedrooms, pianos in the parlor, and bass drums in the basement. The children awoke in the morning to bluesmen and drifters sleeping by a smoldering fire. The musicians had funny names like Leadbelly, Woody Guthrie, and muddy waters. As Libba worked, she listened. One day, the kids on the porch and the bluesmen in the living room and the drummers down below heard a sound. It was like 1,000 songbirds singing, or a gentle spring rain, or a train rambling down the tracks. It was Libba singing and picking the guitar like she'd never set it down. "Dang," cried the kids. "She can play," cried the bluesmen. Soon the whole house was turned upside down and backwards. The children were clearing the dishes and washing up. The bluesmen were singing Libba songs. Ruth was playing along. Everyone wanted to hear Libba's music. "Sing Freight Train again," they shouted. The Seegers believed in Libba and helped her spread the word about her music. But it was Libba's perseverance, her love of music, and her belief in herself that gave the world her voice. Libba played grand cathedrals in London and velvet theaters in Rome. Thousands of people sang along when she played Freight Train. And now, millions of people know her music. Libba turned her guitar upside down and backwards so she could play it her own way. She turned the music world upside down and backwards too. Libba Cotten never stopped in her tracks. She kept rolling. Freight train, run so fast. Freight train, run so fast. Please don't tell what train I'm on. They won't know what route I've gone. So there's actually more in this book at the end, in the author's note, more specifics about Libba's story. I won't get into it just to keep this video short, but what can we learn from this? What we can learn is when you're a child, you have a lot of time to play and have fun and do things you're interested in. But sometimes when you become an adult like Libba, she didn't have time to play guitar because of all her responsibilities. So what I really want you to learn from this is while you're young, while you have time, if you're interested in art or music or whatever, take time out of your day to learn it and get good at it. So that when you become an adult, if you don't have time to do it, you will have it in your head and you could play and do whatever you want. If you don't have time to take music or art classes, then it's a beautiful thing to play your music in front of a crowd of people or do a beautiful piece of art for people to see and to know that you learned that when you were young. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this book. I got this from the local library. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them below. And keep in mind, no matter what books you read for inspiration, what art or music you take up for a hobby, as always, do it to the best of your ability. And until next time, as always, keep it real.